Is Alex, and I'm Matthew Spence and Nancy McIntyre. It's with a heavy heart that I have to stand in front of you today. I'd like to quote something from the Bible. Like a thief in the night, the Lord will come. Though that implies to the end of the world, it also implies anybody who's gone before that. And like a thief in the night, Nancy's been gone. There isn't any further alarms for us to warn us about it. But I think Nancy was ready to go. She was a true Christian, and she lived a Christian life. She didn't talk it, she walked it. Anybody knows Nancy knows that she was very generous, very giving, and belonged to millions of clubs and made millions of friends. She was just an incredible lady. And I think back the first time I met her back in 1988, and I brought my family in from Michigan. There were 7 of us. And she had just had Catherine. She was just 4 months old. And she put on a big spread for us and treated us like we were royalty in her house. It was just amazing. And that's just one example. She took care of my kids when they were here. She always had me over her house. It just felt like I was one of the family. She's caring, great mother, a teacher. What more better profession can you have than being a teacher? She belonged to all the great book clubs and health clubs and charities. And she's trusting and friendly. I mean, she could make friends with anybody. She'd meet Jack the Ripper and invite him over for dinner. And always seeking positive in people. Unless you're a Democrat, she probably wouldn't be friends with you. I can say that. We're not in LA County. If I was in LA County, I wouldn't be able to get out the door and say something like that. But she was truly an amazing woman. Very competitive, too. You won't find anybody more competitive than Nancy. I myself was in sport for a lot of years, and I can remember one time at my mom's 70th birthday party, I think everybody came down, and Nancy wanted to see my gym downstairs, and I had a full boxing gym, and I was showing her how to hit the speed bag. And Nancy was so impressed, but she also thought she could hit the same way I could. And it took her about a half hour before I could convince her, Nancy, it took me many months to get this well. You're not going to be able to get this bag like I did. But she wouldn't quit, and testament to her life, she was always there, always a fighter. She's getting off the canvas these last 4 years, it would have killed somebody else a lot sooner than that. She was a very tough lady. Another favorite column of mine is Psalms 23.4. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art is with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And that brought me back to about a year ago when we went to see Nancy and Uncle Alan and everybody around Double Island. And there was Nancy with her staff, leading us around the island from one street to another, just like Charlton Heston in the Ten Commandments. Except there were a bunch of Gentiles in Orange County. No bit of that, just her. And she would lead us all around. And we follow around just like Moses followed other people. She wasn't afraid to lead. She took command. She probably was a Marine like her father. And she was very proud of her mother and father. So now that she's gone, I was reflecting back on my own life and thinking about the thief in the night. Am I going to be ready to go when that happens? What do I need to do to mend fences and tell people what I think about them? So I started my journey after Nancy's death and tried to make amends with my own mother. It's been a problem with myself for many years. And I realized that you don't know when you're going to go. You need to start to think about the things you need to do. So don't be afraid to tell somebody about them, how important they are to you, because you never know when it's going to happen. One of the hardest things to say, especially for men, is, I love you, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I forgive you. Except if you're there, because I don't even know what to say too quick after that. I said them all every day to my wife. I'm sorry, I love you, I was wrong. Get used to it, David. You know what I said. It became a daily ritual with me. So even though Nancy's not with us physically, she's worked with us spiritually. And I think there's some solace knowing that she's with her beloved mother, Donald, her beloved mother, Eunice, and her beloved dog, Katie. But most importantly, she's with our beloved Lord, Jesus Christ. So, like a thief in the night, I only hope I'm as ready as she was when my time comes. And like Nancy was. When that time arrives, what about you?
Speeches over the last 5 decades, all over the world, in different places. This is the hardest one for me. But it's not about me. Dear cherished friends of Nancy Gail Cluck-McIntyre, on behalf of our family, I thank each and every one of you for supporting her during these last 4.5 years, for the last week, and now as we bury her. Kudos also to the medical folks at UCI and Hogue, St. Mary's, wonderful people, the Latter-day Saints, the Kappa Group, Laguna Friends, the St. Margaret Ladies, the Emerald Bay community, and everyone else for your cards, calls, prayers, gifts, flowers, food, and heartfelt love. Nancy loved you all so much. So right now, we're standing at the edge of the vast ocean, perhaps on a pier, right before sunset, one of these beautiful sunsets, looking down Park Avenue or anywhere along the Laguna. Nancy's boat is pulling away into the horizon, and we are waving, crying, and saying goodbye. The boat, pointed away, leaves inexorably pulling away. 68 years ago, Nancy was born in the vanguard of baby boomers, as her brother mentioned, to Don and Eunice Cluck. She is a sister to Bob and Patricia, aunt to Brittany, Braden, Sarah, Patrick, Caleb, Teresa, Alex, Colleen, Maggie, and Christian, and sister-in-law of Tammy, Gordon, Elizabeth, Francis, and Alan, and future mother-in-law of David and Nursey, plus related to all the younger generations, their children, and to be. We're hoping for grandchildren. As Bob mentioned, Nancy was an American Field Service student at 18 in Norway and still has friends there who grieve for her now, as well in Belgium, Australia, Canada, France, and Germany. A teacher for 37 years in Saddleback, she taught 3 generations of the same families. Child grows up, has another child, and then the grandparent. Her discipline and skills, and you know Nancy, showing not like this, helped the most recalcitrant students to successfully read and write. Her school families adored her. All the while, she and her family have been in Emerald Bay Laguna for almost half a century. And if you think about it, Laguna, not that old. That's a long time. We two met as Fulbright students in Shanghai, studying at Fudan University in the early 80s, where I courted my bride all over China, including Guilin, Xi'an, and Beijing, overcoming stiff resistance. You know Nancy, like Bob said, I don't know how I ever did it. Like Abraham and Sarah, God gave us a gift of great value late in life for us. We were blessed with our precious daughter, Catherine. Nancy had high standards and was always inspirational, a true believer in her values, demanding clarity. What did you say? How did that go? Tell me again. She had courage and she had fairness. And she wanted fairness and determination from others. She demanded it. She had an intense, sincere passion for frankness and honesty. There was no ambiguity or toleration of wishy-washy behavior. Yes, I know what she wanted, right? However, like any of us, she needed to give herself some slack sometimes. If you ever talked to her on the phone, her soft and earnest telephone voice was captivating, lovely and disarming. One of the things that got me right away. a very strong quality enjoyed by all her friends up to the last. In business affairs, she had a problem that solved with something, she could charm anyone, overcoming any resistance to get to the point and get what she wanted. And that also carried over for her because she was a fighter to the end. Most aneurysm stroke victims die before getting to the hospital the first time. On July 4th, 2010 at 4:33 a.m., she was able to survive because of what the doctors call the cognitive reserve. She was one of the first female lifeguards on the East Coast, a synchronized swimmer. If you're familiar with Esther Williams, that kind of thing. And she had a beautiful form. If you saw her swimming, a dolphin. And she didn't move very much. She just went. Only Katie, if you don't know who Katie is, look at the picture, you'll see it, the insert. Only Katie could go faster. Such strong physical fitness, the doctors say, was cannibalized by her brain. That's why she survived. She became a shell of herself after that, muscles. But she had sufficient reserve to survive that. So God gave us 4.5 more years with her. It's like we need, we get that chance, God polishes a little bit more. She was more determined, as you know, to get well, constantly working, exercising, researching for a solution to overcome her permanently injured brainstem with the imbalance and the lack of taste that she had, among other issues. At the end, she gave back to 4 more lives via donated tissue and organs for others to see and live. You know what she would say? Never waste anything.